long, you know, did it, for things to turn around? Well, you know what I'm talking about, of course. Over here we have a brand new government, and one that really is probably the most divisive really we've seen in a long time. When I say that, what I mean is anti-monarchist. Even the current British Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, is on record for basically saying that he's an anti-monarchist and he wouldn't mind a republic and all that sort of stuff. I don't know, if you were King Charles and you had to sit opposite him, how friendly would you be? Yes, you know what I mean? You know their true colours, don't you? And then, of course, we brought you the MP Clive Lewis threatening not to, pledge his allegiance to His Majesty the King. And you think, well, but is, of course, His Majesty the King playing right into the hands of these particular individuals? As ever, let me explain. Hi, nice to see you. Thank you so much as ever for taking the time out. Aren't these beautiful flowers behind me? I thought I'd give you a little bit of lemon. Should have had a lemon tie on, shouldn't I? You'll be telling me off now, won't you? I could see that. Well, we're friends. We can do that, can't we? You can tell me off and I can tell you off for nodding off. It looks sharp. I mean, this is a lot of effort. I've put some effort in. Come on. But you know what I mean? It's lovely to see things like that. I just think it says things are alive, even if I'm not. You know what I mean? Some days you have those days, don't you? You're like me, aren't you? You've tried a new sort of vitamin booster. You think, well, that's no good. And then you wonder why you wasted the money, didn't you? Just stick with oranges. Always better. Now, what's interesting here with His Majesty the King is this. As you know, currently it's still ongoing. Buckingham Palace is going through an amazing restoration, and I've been lucky enough to meet some of the people who are involved in the restoration, and they've told me the things they've found under the floorboards and in the wiring and stuff like that, which hasn't been dealt with for over 70 years. Apparently Her Majesty the Queen just didn't want the fuss. You can understand it, can't you? I mean, all those rooms, you don't need the hassle. But now it's emerged, of course, and many people are suggesting that His Majesty the King really needs to look sharp, simply because with the massive public investment in Buckingham Palace, should he and Queen Camilla at least be based there a few days a week? What is the point of having this palace if it's just used for major functions? All of those rooms, 775. And this is where it's going to get very tricky for him pushing forward with this particular government. As I say, mainly anti-monarchists. You can dress it up any way you want. Now, I sort of think what I can see the King is trying to do is by opening certain areas of Buckingham Palace and charging people to go in, he's slowly, I would suggest, trying to turn it into part museum, more accessible to the public. Although recently, although it's opened up and that, people are suggesting, well, what about the people that can't afford the £70 ticket? Where is the day maybe for free for certain people to go and have a look round? You can see the problems that's now going to engulf His Majesty the King. Perhaps, of course, the Queen and Prince Philip were right about keeping a distance as how much you let people in. It can never be enough. But with this particular government being so anti-monarchy, obviously some people are suggesting at some point that His Majesty the King and Queen Camilla could be forced to reside in a building that apparently they have no simple affection for. Even our late and wonderful monarch Queen Elizabeth II was not a fan of Buckingham Palace, but what she did know was the public saw this as the epicentre of royal life, and so did retain apartments in there and stayed from time to time. Seemingly though, King Charles feels differently. Now, do you think he's got a problem? Neil Sean in the very heart of London.